Greetings to all of you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I thank God for giving me an opportunity to be with you all this time. I know that I'm joining from a long distance, so we may have some technical problems, but I trust in the Lord that the Lord is going to help us today as we spend some time together in learning from certain things about. So first of all, I want to appreciate the ministry which is hosting, especially Brother Joshua, and their initiative to be a blessing for many people. And I pray that God will continue to use your ministry in a powerful way in the coming days to impact generations, the children, the parents, everyone. So I am so happy that I am able to come and share a little bit with you. And as today and tomorrow, 2 days this meeting, this seminar, or this event is going on, I pray that God will continue to bless and use everyone. I represent, or I work for an organization called as ICPF International. So I had the privilege to visit Yaoundé, Cameroon, back in March this year, and I enjoyed my stay over there, and it was a great blessing. And we have staff there who work for ICPF, and we also work among students and in campuses, in schools. We have different training programs going on. Without any delay, I want to get to today's topic, which is raising profitable children. I think that was a theme for this meeting. And I want to start with this topic of raising godly, profitable children, because I believe that when we have godly children, that those children will be profitable. So with that, I want to just lay out the agenda. As you might have noticed, I have the French translation on my PowerPoint. That way, if you are unable to follow anything, this may help you to just read if you are able to see my screen, even as I share a few things. So today's agenda, we are going to look at 5 things. Number 1, we are going to look at what are the Bible instructions. And then we are going to look at what is successful parenting looks like. And the third is importance of character. The fourth thing is observation and influence. And the fifth thing is what is discipline, with which I want to conclude my conversation or my teaching today. So we all know that, so I want to base everything on the basis of the Word of God, the Bible, because Bible gives us a good foundation about how to raise children. So I'm guessing, this is my understanding, that we have a lot of parents probably attending this event, and these parents have a desire to raise up children who are influential, who are profitable, who are godly. So we have some clear instructions given in the Bible. The Bible tells us that in Proverbs chapter 22 verses 6, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it. So Bible actually tells us to train the children in the way he or she should go. We should not let them go in the way they want to go, but the parents have the responsibility to train children. Another thing I want to bring your attention is Psalms 127 verses 3, which says, children are a gift from the Lord, they are a reward from him. So sometimes parents may say that, this kid, I don't know how he came or what happened, but we have to understand that every child God has given is a gift from the Lord. The third verse I want to bring before getting into some of the other aspects is Ephesians chapter 6 verses 1 to 4, which says, children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Then honor your father and mother. This is the first command with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go for you and you will have long life on the earth. So this is all instructions given to children. But then it says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and the instruction that comes from the Lord. So here again, Bible is giving us a mandate. There is a responsibility to teach our children. With that, let me quickly move forward. There is another important scripture portion, is Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 5 to 9. Just follow along with me as I read this in English. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I am giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you are at home and when you are on the road and when you are going to bed and when you are getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your foreheads as reminders. Wear them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. So here again, the Bible is telling us to teach, right? And in our homes, first we have to follow and repeat them or train our children about the commandments of God. So with that, I want to get into the first subject is, even as we look around, there are many challenges with parenting. And I know that this seminar is focused on parents. So I'm going to come now from the parents' perspective. Many times the challenge is we outsource spiritual related things to other people. I sometimes see that parents, they don't spend time to teach their children the Word of God. They basically think that the church or Sunday school or some other programs will take care of their spirituality. Many times we just give it to others, which is not a good thing to do. The number two, we do not make an effort to train them in the right way. We have to make effort to train them, but many times we don't take that effort. Number three, we let them go the way they want. Sometimes parents give up on their children and say, okay, whatever it is, let it go the way they want things to go, and or whatever they want to, wherever they want to go. And then number four issue is a lot of times parents are not good examples in front of their children, so they don't give a good example for the children to follow. These are all challenges. And then sometimes we expect our children to do better than us in all aspects of life automatically, mainly spiritual aspects. We think that, they will automatically be better than us. And when they don't do things, we scold them, we shout at them, we try to do a lot of things, but we a lot of times think that, automatically they will be better than us. But we need to understand that that's not going to work out. Having said that, let's get into this. The second, topic I want to talk about is what is a successful parenting all about? How do we define? So there are three things I want to bring to your attention. Number one, we are going to define what is parenting. Number two, parenting and teaching. And number three is parent relationship metrics. So we are going to look at these three things very quickly. So number one, parenting defined. So we have to understand that parenting is not just one aspect. Parenting involves talking, impressing upon our children, modeling the right things. It involves discipline, it involves teaching, it involves training, and it involves loving. So here you have to understand that a lot of times many parents only spend some of this time in some of these things. Sometimes they may be loving, they may be doing certain things, disciplining them. But parenting overall, we have to realize that it is about talking to the children. It is about impressing them, giving them the right values, teaching them. I will get to that when I get to the end. Then modeling, then training them, then helping them in the disciplinary aspects of life, and very importantly, loving. Sometimes we also see that a lot of parents are only focused on loving, which is not going to be helpful in many ways. So with that, let's get get into the next aspect. What are keys for successful parenting or teaching? First thing we have to realize, there is a need for effective communication. I want you to think about it. Effective communication and influential leadership. Because of our time today is not that much, I'm not going to get into both of this, but I will talk a little bit about effective communication. But I also, because I'm not planning to talk about influential leadership, let me give you a little bit about it. Influential leadership is, we have to understand that parents, father, mother, you are leaders. Father is a leader within the house. You may not be a leader in the church or your company or where you work. A lot of times people would love to become leaders because in some companies they always say, give me promotion, make me a manager, I want to be a leader. A lot of times people are having the desire. But I want to tell you, God has already made you a leader within your household, within your family. You are a leader. If you are not taking up the leadership role within your family, it is going to be very problematic, right? So that's why we have to have influential leadership within our families. Now, I just want to leave it at that way, saying that everyone who is listening to me, you are a leader. You have a sphere of influence where you can provide leadership. And if you're a parent, you can be a leader to your children. You can be a leader within your household, within your family, which is very important. So now, let's get into this. What is this whole aspect of effective leadership? Effective communication. What is effective communication? A lot of times when people think about communication, they only think about what we speak, what we speak with our words. But effective communication is very important. Please understand this very carefully. Number one, there can be negative communication and there can be positive communication. Negative communication are all the negative things you say to your children. Bible tells that, there is power in the words we speak. Sometimes if you only speak negative things, it is not going to help us at all. Right? Negativity is not going to help us in any way. It is always going to demoralize people. In the Bible also we see that. If you believe, in the Bible we see about how people who said negative things missed out. When Joshua, Caleb, and 10 other people went out to see the land of Canaan, when the spies over there, when they came back, 10 people came back and said negative things. Only Joshua and Caleb were there who said the positive things. We can go. If God is with us, He's going to help us. But 2 people said positive, but 10, the majority said negative things. And God's response was, okay, everyone who said these negative things are not going to go to the Canaan land, the promised land. So we have to understand that in life also, we should not be dwelling on a lot of negativity. Negativity is like, I'm not going to achieve anything in life. My children are not going to be better. Like a lot of negative words. That's not going to be helpful. But let's come to the positive communication. What is positive communication? When we are communicating something, only 7% of that communication is words. A lot of times we think that communication is all about words. Right? It's not just about words. It's only 7%. 38% of the communication is all about tone. What tone we are using. And then 55% is nonverbal. Especially nonverbal communication may not be as effective when I'm doing from far on a video online system. This may not be that much effective, but when we are having a communication one-to-one or in one place, always remember there is non-verbal component to the communication. Let me explain this to you. I could be just saying few words and have no tone in that. Like when I'm saying something important, I'm using some stress. But when I'm saying something normal, I'm going very normal. Right? So there is tone involved with that. And when we are talking to our children also, always remember these are things. But 55% are non-verbal communication. 55%. What does it mean? What is this non-verbal communication we are talking about? See, the parent's heart, character, and love, right? These are very important, right? Along with all the communication. Sometimes we may be able to say a lot of things, but if we are not able to communicate in the right way, that is not going to help. For example, a lot of times we may not tell our children that we love them. Like a lot of times in many places, girls, they never hear from their father or their mother that, they love her. And as soon as somebody says to her that I love you, she falls for that. And then we blame others for it. No. If we are not able to express our love, I recently came across a story where a girl ran away with someone. And when the father went to bring her back, and so it went to the police station. The police was trying to solve it. And the police gave this girl an offer to go back with the father. And she said, I am not going to go with the father. I want to go with this boy, right? And the father was very upset that more than 20 years, I raised you, I gave you everything, and now for somebody whom you met few months ago, you want to leave me and go? And then he said, you don't know how much I love you. She said, all these 20 years, not even once you said to me that I love you. Not even once. Can you think of a time where you said to me that you love me? So it was never communicated to her. So she understood that my father, my mother, nobody loves me. So as soon as someone from outside said, I love you, she was willing to leave them and go, because there is a longingness in the heart to be loved. And sometimes you may buy a lot of stuff for people, you may give a lot of things, but if you are not expressing the true love, that can be very problematic. Another thing is your character matters. Your character really matters, right? So you need to tell your children that, you have to first of all love them. Your character is important. Remember, character is very important. How you behave, what is your behavior within the family, within the household is very important. Third thing is love. You need to express. You need to tell them, I love you. I am proud of you. When they do something good, you said, you are good. You did a good job. A lot of times people who come from the Eastern culture, I was raised in the Eastern culture because I grew up in India. So the parenting style is like that. When they do something bad, we jump on it. We tell them you are so bad. You did messed up everything. But when they do something really good, we never appreciate them. We never tell you did really good or nothing. We never tell them anything. Right? So that is a problem. That is a real problem. So remember, this is very important in effective communication. Effective communication is not just words you speak as instructions. It involves a lot more components. As I was telling, always remember, words are very little. The tone, your nonverbal communication, sometimes giving them a hug, sometimes giving them a pat on their back and say, good job, you did a good job. Sometimes, I don't know how it works there, but sometimes give them a good appreciation, whatever way it is. So that's very important. Let's move on. So I want to bring now, for effective communication, there are a few more things we need to understand. Number one, give your child full attention when you are talking to them. we live in a time where we all use phones, and we have mobile phones with us. Sometimes when our children come to speak to us, if we are actually not giving them attention, that's bad. That's bad communication. When your kid is coming to talk to you, put your phone aside. Talk to them. Give them the time. Second thing is find a time and place to talk. Right? The positive communication involves giving your time to them. Talk to them. Avoid interrupting. When they are saying something, listen to them what they're saying. Give nonverbal encouragement. You can give a lot of nonverbal encouragement when they are, when they did something good, as I was saying a little earlier. Focus on behavior rather than personality. I will get to that a little later here. But always remember, don't comment on their personality, but focus on their behavior. Final thing is, say exactly what you mean. A lot of times parents will say something and children will have to figure out. Once a kid was beaten up and they were scolded, shouted, everything. In the end, somebody asked the kid, why did your father do this? The kid said, I don't know. I have no idea. Right? I have no idea why. Sometimes we are quick to discipline, but we never tell them what's the problem. Next thing is ask questions. Ask questions from the children. Try to investigate. Try to find out what is going on. Right? And then respond to nonverbal responses. When they are giving you a nonverbal response, you also respond to that. Tell them what it is. And then, finally, I want to say, when there is a conflict, fight fairly. Sometimes parents want to be always right. They want to be always right. But a lot of times we may be wrong. We may be wrong in what we are saying. As soon as we realize that we are wrong, confess it and say sorry. Let's say you did something without knowing and your child did not do anything, but you thought they did and you scolded them or you did something. Always what you need to do is, if you find you're wrong, tell them. Right? So these are very important in effective communication. Give your attention, find a time and place to talk, avoid interrupting. Give nonverbal encouragement to them. Focus on the behavior rather than personality. Tell them exactly what you mean. Ask questions. Right? Respond to them. Even their nonverbal things, respond to them. And when there is a conflict, fight fairly. Always remember that you have to be truthful in whatever way you're doing it. Now we are going to move into what is called as parent relationship metrics. So I want to, this is a assessment I wanted to do. I wish if I was in person, we could have done this in a different way, but I just want to give you an idea. So in parenting, there are few aspects which will have a direct influence on how children turn out to be. I want to give you this whole theme of this seminar is on profitable children or profitable, or I said that godly, right? So number one, if the relationship of a parent with God is very poor or poor, average, good, very good, we need to analyze where are you. This is a quick test. You can score this. So in regard to God, in regard to family, in regard to the church, in regard to your own, if you're studying in a school or teaching in a school or workplace, relatives and friends. So if you're very poor in all these things, your score should be 4. Right? So you can score this yourself and see where you are. And if your score is less than 10, that means that means you need improvement. You need to improve on those aspects. If your score is between 10 and 15, there is opportunity for improvement. But if your score is above 15, that means you are, you excel in your relationship, right? You're good in relationship, and that will have a positive influence on your children. So what happens here is a lot of times people, maybe lacking in their own relationship with others, with God, within the family, they may not be having a good relationship with other people in the church, at workplace where they work, they may not be having a good relationship. Even there may be fight between relatives and friends. Always remember, this is going to have an influence, an impact on the children because they are learning From every age they are learning what is going on. So it is very important that we do not ignore our own relationship, because a parent can do everything possible, but if their own relationship metrics is in a terrible shape, understand that that is not going to help. That is going to bring a lot of problems. Okay, having said that, we are going to move into the third segment of today's learning, which is what is the importance of character. What is the importance of character? Because that is such a key aspect. So, a lot of times we do not take character as an important aspect in parenting. We are always focused on making sure that our children is having good character, right? So it is very important. So when a parent wants to exhibit good character, there are many aspects to it. Let me just quickly go through it. So that this good character is not one thing. Number one, we need to teach. We need to pray. We need to model in front of them. We need to influence them. We need to train them. We need to encourage them. We need to be punctual. We need to prepare. These are some of the things which forms character. For example, if a household is not having any discipline, there is no punctuality, right? What time they wake up, there is no punctuality, there is nothing. You can expect that the children will learn the same things. If you have a family prayer where you sit with the children and pray, you can expect that children who grow up in that family will develop that habit of prayer in their life. If you are in the family, there is no encouragement, you can pretty much expect that there will not be any, those children who will grow up will not have that. So what I'm trying to say here is, character is very important, and we have to see if are we teaching, are we modeling the prayer, are we more role models for them? There are countries now dealing with this whole problem where girls do not want to get married. There are girls who are 30, and it can be different in different cultures, but let me just say that there are some places where girls don't want to get married, and sometimes you ask them why, they will tell that within my family it was such a terrible abusive household. My father was beating up my mother, or there was abuse existing. So they grew up seeing all those things. Now when it comes for their time, they don't want to get into that. So they say, I escaped out of a mess of years, and now I don't want to get into a married life and get into another mess. So they are afraid. See how it has influenced, and they are scared to get married. And even if they get married, there is all problems which may pop up because they got a very bad influence. They learned a lot of bad things from childhood. And similarly, some boys who grew up in families where the father was abusive. So this guy learned that, and when he gets married, he wants to take that forward, right? He wants to get that forward unless Jesus Christ does something amazingly different in their life. They end up exhibiting the same behavior. So in parenting, we have to really recognize that we are influencing generations through our conduct. It doesn't matter how our parents were. If they were good, follow them. If they were not good, if you regret something about your childhood, make sure that your child is not going to regret about that. I want to repeat that again. If you regret something about your own childhood, how your parents dealt with you, or what were things which were wrong within your family, always make sure that your children are not going to experience the same thing within your household. Very important. So we have to really think, what is the character I'm exhibiting? How am I doing it? So that brings me to this fourth segment of our teaching today, which is about observation and influence. So I'm going to talk to you about three things here. Number one, children learning through observation and influence, which goes back to what I was just saying about the character. I'm going to come to more details here. Number two, we are going to look at age-based strategy and the felt need of children. So come along with me as I move ahead with this. So number one is coming back to this whole aspect of how do children really learn. I want to tell you, they learn through observation and influence. Let's look at a few things here. A lot of times we don't understand the fact that children learn 60% from the family, parents and siblings, and 5% from church, from pastor, Sunday school teacher, youth leaders. A lot of times what happens is, you go to church once or twice in a week, and the children are, asked to go to Sunday school, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and we expect everything, they should learn everything from there. But no, the statistics is children only learn 5% from the church. 60% they learn from household, and 35% they learn from school and media, because they are spending their whole time over there, right? But 60%. Now, when it comes to teaching and observation, less than 15% teaching happens within the family, while greater than 85% of the learning by observation happens from family. Just think about it. We are as a verbal teaching, we can only do 15% from the family, but 85% they are learning from by observing what is going on. From the church, they learn about 30% they learn by teaching, which is going on, but greater than 70% they learn by observation. Again, observation. When it comes to world like school and social media, about 60%, less than 60% they learn by teaching, but 40% is by observation. So if you look at this whole metrics, one thing you can understand is family plays a big role, church plays a big role, the world plays a big role. The world's biggest role is by teaching them. The school will teach them a lot of things. They will teach them mathematics, science, physics, chemistry, all these things they can teach them. The language they can teach them. French, English, everything they can teach them. So there the observation aspect is a little less. But when it comes to church, 30% of the teaching may come from them. They may go to the church, Sunday school, everything they may learn, but 70% they're observing. They're looking at the people within the church. How are they behaving? They're looking at the leaders. They're looking at everything. But when it comes to family, you have to understand 85% they are observing. How are the parents behaving? How are their siblings, the brothers, sisters within the family behaving? How are things going on? So the teaching is only 15%, less than 15%. So it draws us, brings us to this point that we have to be really good role models, examples. So I can take my kids and say, hey, get up in the morning, you need to read your Bible, you need to pray. But where are they learning more? Not by what I said. They are learning from me. If I don't do it, they're not going to really learn. So always remember, kids are learning through observation and influence. And they are within the family, the 60% of the learning which is happening within the family, 85% is through observation. 85%. So if parents are listening to me, you have to make sure that you are talking less, but you are behaving more. If your behavior is bad, but you think that by telling them, by teaching them, you can make it up, sorry to say, it's not going to help. It's not going to work, because children learn more by observation than you just telling them. Okay, so church, the world has a big role to play, but today this crowd, all of you are listening to me, I'm guessing mostly our parents, so I want to just emphasize the fact that they observe, they look at you, you are an influence, and they observe. Okay, so let's get to this another important aspect, which is the age-based strategy for students. Here's the thing: as kids grow, their perspectives change. Their perspectives are changing. Every time their perspectives are changing. A teacher who may be good in a kindergarten or a little kids may not be effective with young teens, because the way you talk to a little kid is different than how you talk to a teenager or somebody who's studying in grade 1 or the in elementary or primary school, however it is referenced over there, may not be the way you talk to somebody who is going to the university, or even a little less than that. We all understand that. In parenting too, we have to change our way of talking and approach as children grow. Because when they are too small, you have more opportunity to talk to them, tell them, and all those things. But as they grow up, they will listen to you less, but they will observe you more. So it is changing. So we have to work as a team with one goal, not me, but the children's spiritual growth. So husband and wife have to come together, and they have to work as a team. Because as children grow, we have to change the strategy. But sometimes, parents try to talk to a 15-year-old kid just like they were talking to a 5-year-old kid. No, it's not going to work out. You have to understand their worldview has changed. The perspectives have changed. They are completely changed in how they are approaching things. So if you're not going to do that, it's not going to work out. So that is so important, and that is very key, that we use age-based strategy when they talk to them. I don't have the time today to talk about different ages and what is changing, but it is very much, you have to understand that there is an age where you can actually tell them. Then you all know that there is an age where kids will just listen to you, then they will start asking you why, and then they will question you when you ask them something. There are different ages at which, and then there are also age comes when they won't even listen to you. And then there an age will come when they want you to listen to them, right? So there are ages at which you need to use different strategies. Don't try to talk to a 15-year-old thinking that what the technique you used at when they were 5 years or 7 years will work, because with every age they are changing. Their responses are changing. How they are doing everything is changing. So it is very important. It's very, very important. I hope you're getting that. Okay. So with that, let's move on to a very important thing. What are the felt needs of a child? So a lot of times we always think about what are our needs, but there are some felt needs of a child. Number one, love. Absolutely, every children want to be loved. They are looking for love. And parents are the primary source through which they can get love. Okay? I think this is not a bigger issue, so I'm going to move on. Respect. But this is a problem. A lot of times we love our children, we don't respect them. What is respect? If sometimes even when they are right, we deny them or we don't accept it because we think that we have to be always right. No, respect them, right? Respect them for the individual. Understand that Bible tells us that God has created everyone uniquely with special abilities, right? Sometimes a lot of parents compare their children with other children and say, oh, no, they are good with a lot of things. But remember, yes, they may be good in some things, but your kid is also good in some things. God has not left your kid like a, good for nothing. They have been uniquely created. In Psalms it says that you are wonderfully and you are marvelously made me, right? So we have to always remember that we have been created wonderfully by our master. So in the same way, our kids are also created wonderfully. They are unique. They have a special purpose from God. So we have to always keep that in mind. Third thing, they need role models. They are always looking for role models. Whom can we follow? Have you seen like how many times these kids are influenced by sports players, celebrities, stars, all these people, right? Because they're always looking for people to follow. And if you are going to be a good role model, what is going to happen is they are going to really follow you, right? There are a lot of times I've heard children saying, my hero is my dad, right? Or my mom, my father, my mother, because they saw a good role model in them. So they are looking for role models. Remember that they are looking for role models. If you are not going to be a role model, they will pick up somebody else as their role model. And they may not be the right people. And then don't tell. Number 4 is guidance. They are looking for guidance. They need guidance. Don't expect that they will figure out everything on their own. No. They need guidance in all aspects of life. So be very intentional about providing them guidance when they need. Then they need somebody who can listen to them. Sometimes, children come from the school and they, you as a parent may be tired after your work or whatever it is, but they want to tell what happened in the school. They will say, the teacher said something. And sometimes we say, you get lost. I don't want to listen to you. Go away from me. Then the child feels like they are shut down. So now what are they going to do? They will look for somebody who can give them a listening ear. And that I want to tell you something very serious. Many times when the parents don't give them a good listening ear, they will start listening to somebody else, or somebody else may give them listen to them. And slowly when later they introduce them to drugs or some bad things, they go after them without telling you. Because you are never interested in listening to them. So always make sure that you make out time to listen to them. Even if you are busy, you need to give them attention and say, okay, what happened in your school? They will be more interested. And when you develop that habit of listening to them, when crisis comes, when decision points comes, when they are in doubt, let's say their friend says, hey, let's try this new thing which will make us feel good. What are they going to do? Before trying that, they will come and tell you, my friend told me to try this thing which will make us feel good. Immediately you will be able to understand that's not good, that's drugs or whatever it is. You may be able to listen. But if you never gave a listening ear to them, you always shut them down. How do you expect them to come to you and tell you that, hey, my friend told something? No. So this is very important. Many times parents say, they never talk to me. That my children never tell me anything. I want to tell you, the reason they never tell you anything is because you don't want to listen to them. That's why. Right? So always make sure this point, right, is very much clear in your mind. Time to be involved in them. Always find time to get involved. Have interest in them and their world. It's very important to always be interested in them. Sometimes it takes effort, but always be there. So children have these felt needs. I'm going to quickly move forward as I see my time is going up. So we have to always make sure that we are finding time to meet this felt needs of our children. So that brings us to this question, which is where I want to conclude. What is discipline? Rules and regulations. Let's look into this. This is very important. So far I have given you a foundation, but this is very key in the sense like if you miss this, this is all going to be a problem. So when I was in Cameroon in March, when we were visiting some schools, I saw that one teacher was grabbing a kid and doing something, and when they saw me and others who were with me, he stopped it. But then I know that discipline is done sometimes rigorously in eastern part of the world, even now. And when I was in Congo, I was talking about this, and I was doing some training with my own, like ICPF staff and other people or volunteers, and they all agreed to this. So many times when we think about discipline, we only think about the third component in this, which is correction. We don't focus on instruction and training. So always remember, discipline has got three components. One is instruction, number two, training, number three, correction. So what does it mean? Instruction is teach the child the right way to go. What is the right thing? Right? Tell them very plainly, this is the right way to do it. This is the right, give them the instruction. And then what is training? Training is working with the child, helping him or her to learn, because it takes training to develop that. Number three is a correction, which is done for changing the behavior response. So let me explain. You want to teach your child how to ride a bicycle? Like we call it bike here, but I think in our place it's called as a bicycle. So what are you going to do? You just buy a bicycle and give them and say, hey, you do whatever you want to do. Will they learn? No, they are not going to learn. You gave a bicycle to them, and after 2 days you come and ask them to ride the bicycle, and they are not able to ride the bicycle. They don't know what to do with the pedal. They don't know how to apply the brake. What will happen? You give them 2 beatings, or you give them some, scold them, shout at them, get mad at them, say that, do you have no idea how I purchased this bike with my hard-earned money? I saved money to buy you this bike, and you don't know how to ride it, and you take a small stick and give them some beating. That's what many times parents are doing. They're only correcting. But if you bought a bike, what you need to do is, you need to tell your children, explain to your child, this is a bicycle. This has got 2 tires. It has got brakes. This is the back brake. This is the right brake. Right? If you apply this, there is brake. This is the pedal. This is the chain. And how you want to do is, when you ride it and when you want to slow down, apply the brake slowly. When you want to just keep moving, you have to pedal it. You have to first give them the instruction. But that's not enough, because a child cannot learn a bike by just instruction. Just by learning the manual, reading the manual, they cannot learn it. You have to help them. You have to walk along with them. I remember when I was teaching one of my child how to ride the bike. I made them sit on the bike, and I was going, and I was slowly running along with them. So as they were learning to balance this, bicycle. Initially it was difficult because they were trying to fall. So whenever they are trying to, go one side, I will catch them and put them back. If they're going the other way, I will catch them. This is training. Training is all about helping along with them, walking along with them. Sometimes you may have to run along with them, because as the bicycle is moving faster, you may have to run with them. But a point will come where you know that they got it. They got the balance. At that time, what you do is you slowly take your hands off, not completely. Still you are running with them. You slowly take your hands off. The moment you feel like they're tilting or they're going one way, you give some support. When they're going that way, you give them some support. You hold them together. Right? But a point will come when you realize now they are okay. You can just take your hands off and slow down and stand. Sometimes they may fall. What do you do if they fell down? You're not going to go and beat them up because they fell down, because you're training. So you have to pick them up and encourage them to move forward. So instruction, training, correction. Very important. If you miss any of these things, it's not going to help. So many times, think about yourself. How many times you tell children or correct children without telling them or without giving them instruction or training? So in your parenting, always make sure you have all these three components built into it: instruction, training, correction. Correction should come last. So when you told them something, you trained them something, they know how to do it, still they are not doing it. For example, in the bike, I gave the instruction. I said, when you are going downhill, don't go very fast. Be careful because it can be very dangerous. You can fall. You train them everything. But one fine day, your child just goes down the hill like that. And they are not listening. Then the correction comes. You can tell them, scold them. You can tell, I told you, I trained you, but why are you doing this? Your behavior is not inconsistent with what I taught you, the instructions I gave you, the training I gave you. Then you can correct. Unless and until we have not given instruction and training, we have no right to correct them or discipline them in that way. So understand this. Discipline involves instruction, training, and correction. Let me move forward to almost my end. Rules and relationship is very important. A lot of times we are good in rules, we are not good in relationship. Sometimes we are good in relationship, we are not good with rules. So what does it mean? See, rules without relationship is what leads to rebellion. A lot of children are rebellious because we give them rules, but we don't have a relationship with them. We have to nurture the relationship while we give rules. Now understand, rules won't work without a relationship. We need to have that relationship. And then kids need parents with a plan for positive influence. So remember, the parent-child relationship needs to be at very good level. You need to have a good relationship with your child. Otherwise, it is not going to help out. It's not going to work. So it is very important that you take time to nurture that relationship, build up that relationship, because without that, it is not going to work out. So rules and relationship are a must. So having said that, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. I hope that this teaching was a blessing. I pray that God will help you to practically implement what we have learned here. And God will really bless you to have children, raise up a generation who is godly, who is profitable, and who will be a blessing. So thank you so much. I just want to remind you that God is calling us, as I have said in the beginning. I just want to go back and just give you, another rundown of what we have done. So we looked at the Bible instructions. Bible is very clear that the children are a gift and we are supposed to teach them. And for successful parenting, we need few things we looked at. And the importance of character is the third thing we focused on. And we looked in depth about how observation and influence is key, because children learn through observation and they're influenced. The teaching has a role, but more than that, they observe. We looked at that. And finally, always remember, what is discipline? Discipline is not just, correction. Discipline starts with instruction. Discipline's second step is training. Run along with them, work along with them, come along with your child. And finally, correction is also needed wherever it's needed. I hope it was a blessing, and thank you once again. God bless you all. If we need to get into the Q&A time, we can get into the Q&A time. I will open it up. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm going to open it up for that. And Brother Joshua, or who is there, how do you want to proceed with it?
Thank you so much, Dr. Thompson, for the time. We've been enjoying it at this end. From Yaoundé, Cameroon, it's been a great pleasure listening to you. And we have several questions which are coming in, but we hope that this evening we may get to answer just one. And tomorrow we might get more answers to several questions. We have like one attendant asking, she says, parenting is the responsibility of both parents and requires effective communication and love. What should I do if one of the party is not reciprocating the love? What should I do if the love is not being stable in a home to raise the children? That's one of the questions from the attendees.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Number one, if in a household, when I began this, I brought up Bible verses. So this is not one person's responsibility. Both have to be on the same page. That's very important. And I think husband and wife needs to have that conversation about what are they expecting out of their children. And if they are not going to do it properly, it's going to be a problem. But now I understand that sometimes it can be very challenging. Why it's going to be challenging is because if a husband is not believing everything, and if the husband is not, or a wife, or husband or wife, either way, if they are not God honoring, they are not they have their own issues, it can be very challenging. So in those circumstances, what I recommend is that let's for an example say that the father is the one who is not responding well. The mother needs to take some extra effort in that case, because you can tell, but it's very difficult to change the husband. In that case, the mother will have to take some extra effort for the child, for making sure that the child comes in the right way. But always remember, when a child is learning, they look at both, and they are looking for, they can be influenced by one person also. It would have been perfect if both parents, like the husband and wife, or the father and mother, were both working together, being a good influence. But we come across a lot of families where, let's say, only one parent is actually providing that good influence, good character. So if you are very sincere, let's say the mother is very sincere and she is doing what she is supposed to do, remember, the children are very smart and they are also understanding. So they will understand that my father's behavior is not the correct behavior to follow, but my mom is very sincere. She is following the right way. Note my words, when they grow up, or as they grow up, they will be more influenced by you than the father, because they will be, they will watch everything. They're seeing everything. They're understanding everything. So two things I said. Number one, try to have the conversation with the father and see if that works out, and tell how important it is that if our children have to come in the right way, we both have to be responsible and both have to work together. If that's not going to work out, the next best thing you can do is you be faithful, truthful, do your best, show them the love, show them the character, pray for them, and truly live out, and you meet all their felt needs, right, which we were discussing earlier. And I believe that is going to make a big influence. Teach them, tell them, right, the right things from your side. And one of the things you have to do in that is do not badmouth your husband, right? You can say, okay, your father is not responding, but don't say bad things about your husband to the children, because they will know what it is. But if you are bad mouthing, they will lose trust in you also, because they will, it's another problem, because your husband is having a problem, but then when you are also getting, that's a behavior which we don't want to impart to the children. We don't want to impart a behavior to the children which is not good. So what you need to do is you need to resist yourself from telling your frustrations to your children unless they reach an age. At their young age, you show good godly character, which they will catch up. But if you are going to not display godly character, what is going to happen is they will start mistrusting you also. Then both are in a problem. Even though you may be trying very hard, but in your pursuit of that, you may end up saying things which will give them a signal that, even my mom always tells bad about my dad or my father, so it's not going to work out very well. So those are the things I would say. Even if one parent is very sincere, that can make a big influence. I know of many great people whose one parent was prayerful, whose one parent was very sincere and very diligent about these things, and they have influenced the next generation to large extent. Because always remember, kids are observing. They know what is bad and what is right, and if the right thing is consistent, they will be influenced. So that's my response to that. If you have any follow-up question,
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Thompson. Time may not permit us to take all the questions tonight, but there's one bothering question. I can't hold my peace but tell you. So you give the answer to this person real quick in the next few minutes. This person says, what can a parent who has missed all these things, all the various steps you have been teaching us, how can a parent who has missed all these steps correct their relationship with a child who is already in his teens?
Yeah, so you can start. Okay, you need to start today. If your children is already teen and everything, of course you lost opportunity, but you start today. When a teenager, I didn't talk about the different age and how to deal with them, but when it comes to a teenager, don't go with an instruction, right? If you try to tell teenagers sit here, sit there, they're going to rebel because your relationship was not there, right? Because if you remember the last slides, I said rules and relationship is very important, right? So if that is missing, first you have to establish the relationship. Try to find time to talk to them. Don't be judgmental. Maybe they are in a bad spot. Take time to talk to them. Understand them. First build that relationship. And once the relationship is built, you go ahead and get into the matter. So start today or tomorrow, whenever is the best time. Start talking to them. Try to create some type of a relationship, friendship with them. That's the beginning. So if you have missed it, you still have a chance. They are still teenagers only. They are not 40 or 50 years old. So start now. Start today, based on what you heard. That would be my response.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thompson. It was a pleasure listening to you. And I believe that every parent who has been listening to you for the past 1 hour has received insight into parenting. And like I said, we have several other questions, but I would send some of them to your inbox, which we could find time probably tomorrow to give answers to these questions. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Can we give an applause for Dr. Thompson? It was an amazing. Thank you so much. And